is Uchenna Nwoye, and I am the youth administrator at SDIG. Here, I'm talking to essentially, our audience, the Visionaries, and trying to get them to see what I think is a really important issue at hand. This is still the time of Black History Month, and I would love for you guys, my clearly best friends, to be a part of this and to be a part of the conversation. So, Emily and Albert, would you mind introducing yourselves?
Hi, I'm Emily. I'm here. I've been in the DMV for about 4 years. I really love it here. I am North Carolina in sociology and psychology, of clear focus on, social problems and public policy of like what's going on in the world. I've met Uchenna when I first got here, and Albert both. So they've been dear friends of my heart for a long time. So that's me, y'all.
And I'm Albert. I've lived in this area probably like 13 years, 14, since 2006, however many years that is. And my dad's from this area, so I have family, at least some of my family is in this area as well.
Thank you, guys. I'm really happy that you're here. This means a lot. I kind of just want to go straight into it. I've been talking to a few people, members of this group, over the past few weeks onto something that they felt was, something they wanted to talk about, something they wanted to share. And they asked me to speak on essentially mental health care, or just healthcare in general for the Black woman. What are the stigmas? What are the stigmas associated with going to get health care, by in any means, whether it's I broke a leg, or I feel like I'm anxious or have anxiety. I kind of just wanted to ask you guys, have you guys seen any stereotypes or any stigmas within your realm, within this realm?
All right. So yeah, we have the stigma of healthcare, stigma of mental health, the stigma of physical health. With everything that's going on right now, we're in a time of COVID. We're in a time of where everybody, no matter Black, white, male, female, like we have high anxiety, high depression. We're anxious. We're ready to get out. We're ready to explore. We have to go through. So, sometimes we can just go in with like, oh yeah, mental health doesn't exist, but it really does, because, it's what's in our brain, it's what we see, it's our environment, it's that nature versus nurture. And there's just so many different factors that go on into it. And, one thing I've definitely learned is just like, be true to yourself. Like, if this is how you feel, this is how you feel, speak up about it. That's why I think we should break the stigma, just speak up about it. The vaccines are a question, which is a whole nother topic. But there's just all these little things that can run through our head. You want to bring that home, or how you want to act or react to it. That's all like a piece of everything that's going on there, in my opinion, of like, it's kind of going on as a whole, as a whole. So, yeah. How do you feel?
So just as far as like stereotypes and things like that for healthcare, especially among minorities, when it comes to mental health, especially kids of like immigrant parents, that's just not a thing you talk about. And I don't know if part of it is because a lot of immigrant parents came from very poor backgrounds, and when you're really poor, you don't have time for that. You have to worry about whether or not you're going to eat, where you're going to sleep, things like that. So as like children of immigrants, it definitely seems like you can't necessarily go to your parents, or you say something to your parents like, oh, I'm really depressed, or I'm feeling a certain way, and like, why do you feel that way? When I was your age, I didn't have time to worry about things like that. I had to worry about real things. And so that definitely contributes to the issue. And like, I would say most of my friends that are a person of color, I would say less than 10% of them have ever really like, yeah, I have a therapist, or I take this sort of like medication, things like that. It's always just like, I mean, especially among some of my Black friends, it'd be like, no, if I acted out, like if I had ADHD, okay, well, I got whooped until I stopped acting out. And that was basically it. Like, we didn't get any sort of behavioral therapist or anything like that. It was just, you do something right, so you're going to get the same treatment that your parents got when they were a kid, whether or not it was right. But they're like, I made it this far, so I'm going to raise you the same way I was raised. For people in general, or for really for women, I think if you are, especially if you're Black, I've read plenty of articles. I have, obviously, I'm not a woman, so I have no experience in this, but I've read plenty of articles where just strange things that, you know, people go to medical school, they become doctors, they do all of this stuff, and you expect them to be like highly educated. And then you find out it's like, oh yes, at one point, and it really wasn't that long ago, they thought Black people have thicker skin, so we don't need, like, that was a real medical thought, was that Black people have thicker skin than white people. You know, that's not true. And also that Black women had a higher pain tolerance, so they didn't necessarily need like the same amount of painkillers in childbirth and things like that. And it kind of shows up, and I'm sure there's lots of contributing factors, but it kind of shows up when you look at like infant mortality rates and things like that, where it's higher amongst Black women, where either like the mom dies in childbirth or the child dies during birth, than it is among white women. And obviously that's a problem. And some of it has to do with this like flawed information that doctors were going based off of. I'm sure a lot of that has changed, but it still feels like that has done a lot of damage just with how minorities view doctors and like the overall health system, because they can't trust it because, you know, bad things in the past have happened. So, you know, we don't need to necessarily worry about that or go through that system, because it hasn't necessarily helped us out.
I do understand why it's hard to seek help, especially with the various dynamics, the cultural backgrounds, and I really am happy that you guys provided insight. This means a lot. There are different things that I do essentially to help during the pandemic. So thanks to you guys, Emily, coming and teaching me that I could paint. I started painting a lot over the summer, and that's always kind of like managed to keep me busy, but also to keep away thoughts that were just depressing. As the global pandemic, so many people in my life are high risk that I worry sometimes, and it's hard. So I know that painting has helped me. Outside of that, do you guys do anything to slightly improve your mental health on a day-to-day basis, or do you guys have like small things, maybe different things you might cook that make you happy, or just little things to try to improve mental, I guess, health and wellness without necessarily going to the doctors? Because I know that it can be very difficult to get all of the resources, especially where you are in the world. You might not have those same resources accessible to you, but what are things that, you know, we can do during the pandemic while we're at home to help?
Well, I love that I put my inspiration of painting on you, my girl. Anytime you want to paint and sesh, I got some blank canvases. Let's hang. When it warms up, we'll go back by the river.
Yeah.
This one likes video games for his outlet.
I mean,
it gives him a reason to connect with like his family and friends. Even though sometimes it's annoying, but some people love video games and graphics.
Yeah, but I mean, whatever. What do you do?
But I have also I really like cooking right now. So I have a friend who is very dear to my heart. And, you know, we kind of both go through the same thing sometimes, you know, like, you know, highs and lows, and like we feed up on each other day. It's like, what did you do creative today? What did you do creative today? So today I took a walk and I saw a picture of the clouds. Today I went to the store and I got food to come back, make home like a nice dinner, a new salad. I got on TikTok and I learned how to like, I don't even know, make what do they call those things? A future board,
Vision board?
a vision board, you
Okay,
know?
vision board.
So like play some video games, reconnect with old friends, just things like that. It's like those little glimmers. That's what people have called them, glimmers. Or hey, I found this book today. Like I picked it up with a new title. Or even something as simple like, oh hey, like a note was left, or I made someone smile. Like give out random acts of kindness. You never know, like, hey, okay, what's gonna come back to me? So I know it's like really hard because we're like, oh, that happiness, like especially when we're in such a dark time. And again, you know, sometimes we get like in our own heads, and our own heads have the worst of us. And that's the hard part. I've also noticed for me, you know, you know, I have very high anxiety, low depression, and I'm very open to say that. Those are some things that kind of like bring you back, especially with anxiety, especially for depression. It's like having a friend that just reaches out, an emoji that's a heart. And I think for me, reaching out was like during like month 4 or 5. It was like, I'm not okay. Well, we met during these times. Like, are you okay? Like, let's talk about what's going on, and like just talk. Like, you can say what's going through your head, what's not going through your head. Maybe some people don't even want to talk. Maybe they want to listen. Like they want to be occluded. Also, put both feet on the ground in the morning. 2 feet on the ground. That is like what you got to do. It could be morning, afternoon, and every time you go after a depressive episode, every time you take a shower, I sis, I see you. Like that's an achievement too.
This pandemic, I'm not the person to ask because this has been mostly fine for me. My job keeps me busy, so I can kind of focus on that. And for the most part, I'll be fine. Like this isn't my life hasn't changed that much.
Okay, yeah,
Introvert.
that's valid though. A lot of people can agree, or in most senses, the homebody, not
Yeah, and I definitely had to like be just from Emily and people at work that are definitely more outgoing and kind of need interaction, like people interaction,
yeah.
a lot more than I do. You know, just kind of be understanding. Like it's rough for you guys. I understand that, and you know, help as I can. Which you know,
You do.
with how the world is, there's not so much that you can do, but you know, do what you can, and just don't sweat the small stuff.
Again, thank you. And thank you for sharing. Honestly, this is so important, and showing both sides of this situation, and showing like just health in general, how important it is that we take the time, and even if it isn't going through the route of therapy or going to a doctor and a psychiatrist, seeing a psychiatrist and getting medication, there are routes and there are things that you can try to do to continue to live, you know, in wellness. Thank you guys for coming. Really, it's been an honor.